The world of Metaphor ReFantazio is full of beautiful sights, engaging characters, and apparently a lot of beetles. And I've developed some strong feelings about the placement of these gold beetles by the developers, and so today I'm gonna rank them from worst to best. And big thanks to 100% Guides for letting me use their footage. A link to their channel is in the description down below, but let's just jump into the beetles. Now, if you watched my last Metaphor video, you'll know that I love Martira. And despite this, the Visca Alba Tavern in Martira has 2 gold beetles, and they both really suck. And the worst beetle, I think, in all of Metaphor is the one in the guest room in the water jug, which, in general, is pretty rude to put a bug in a water jug, but there's literally no indicator that it's there. Usually there's a glow or something, but not in the water jug. So that makes it the worst. And while the first was trying to drown itself, this one is trying to burn itself alive in the fireplace, which I'll repeat. How were we supposed to know this was there? There wasn't any additional glow to the fireplace. There's no way, unless we interact with literally everything in this tavern, that we would ever find this. And this isn't really something that we ever have to do again in any other location. Usually there's a relatively clear indicator, even if it is a subtle glow. Coming in at 48 is the Beetle in the Forsaken Tower. It's fine. I just don't love the tower style dungeons when compared with the other dungeon types in the game though. Which means that at 47, it's gross. It's another tower dungeon. This one's the Tower of Insolence though, whose name I like a little bit better, so it's ranked higher. And the last tower dungeon beetle comes in at 46, and it's in the Tower of Blind Faith. And that's probably the coolest name of all the towers, and all of these beetles are relatively easy to find, so it's not all bad, but I have to be in the tower to find it, and so I'm not pleased. Coming in at number 45, this beetle's found in the Tomb of Lament, and I just really dislike this bounty hunt dungeon, so here we are. Number 44 is in the Tomb of Lament too, and I still hate the dungeon, so it's still low on the list. Coming in at number 43 though, I don't love this beetle because it doesn't actually show up in Grand Trad until after you talk to the mysterious old man in the arena front wharf, which is annoying because while it does encourage backtracking, which I tend to like in games, it doesn't make it apparent that this triggers more beetles to appear in places that you've already been to, which while this one isn't inherently missable, you probably won't be keeping your head on the swivel for it in a place you've already been to, but at least it's relatively visible. At 42, this one is also unlocked and needs to be found by backtracking, but this one is in the Mesmerize Apothecary in Martira. I'm putting it a bit higher because I like the city of Martira more than Grand Trad, and unlike the other Martira golden beetles, this one is well hidden and has a bit of a glow to it, and I like well hidden beetles, but only if there's some visual indicator that they're there. Coming in at 41, this beetle can't be too high on the list. And it's not just because it's missable, that I can excuse. It's because it's missable before you know that you need to be looking for something. But because it is the first beetle in the game, I guess that counts for something. And at least it's super visible in the campground, so you would have had to not explore at all to miss it. And hitting the number 40 spot is an unmemorable late game beetle from an unmemorable late game dungeon, which is unfortunate because with a name like the Manor of the Ascendant, I was hoping we'd get a really cool location, but alas, here we are. At 39, this one's fine. Maneater's Grotto is a fun enough dungeon to complete a bounty, but this beetle overlooking the rest of the dungeon just doesn't spark compassion in me. Ah, the Tradia Desert, so bland, so barren, with a beetle on a bush. It's at number 38. Now, number 37 isn't technically missable, but I'm sure a lot of people will because they don't talk to the NPCs. So respect to the developers for rewarding players for actually engaging with the dialogue they'd written, but it's down here because you can't get it until after you finish the Dragon Temple dungeon. At number 36, the beetle found in the Grand Trad Recruitment Center is the definition of bland. Nothing good or bad about this one, it's just fine. Now at 35, while this beetle obtained by completing the Dental Distress quest loses a couple points for being missable, I kind of actually vibe with the fact that it was a reward for doing this quest in particular, just because I like this quest. At number 34, this beetle's not actually accessible until you talk to the mysterious old man in Brilehaven. And overall, I kinda like this one, because unlike the other Martyra beetles, which are much lower on this list, I'm just excited that this gold beetle is actually in a place that's not a pain in the ass to find in Martyra, and it's next to a chicken, and I think chickens are pretty cool. Beetle number 33 is in the Disgraced Ruins, which is a pretty cool late game dungeon, so the beetle is a pretty cool late game beetle. At number 32, for some reason, I really like the King of Imps bounty mission, and for that reason alone, this beetle is this high on the list. At 31, this beetle in Altaberry's White Peaks magic shop is great. It's inconvenient that you can only access it at night, but I think it's so clever that its glow kind of looks like a fire under the cauldron. Coming in at number 30, you have to start making friends with Brigitte to get this one, and you're gonna have to complete the Bullish Embargo quest, and you can find it hiding from the goblins behind one of these whack bar doors in a room full of treasure. What can't you like about that? I think forested areas in this game are super fun and vibey, so the fact that this one is found in the Gracia Forest gets it to number 29 on this list. And it's not a bounty quest dungeon technically, and I love that. Beetle number 28 is in the Everfrost Forest, and again, I love forest, but this one's cooler because it's in a snowy forest. Get it? It's cool. And at 27, what's cooler than a snowy forest? Well, it's an autumn forest, but not cool because it's cold, cool because I like it more. Anyways, while I wish we had more autumnal areas in this game, the Abandoned Path at least sort of scratches that itch, so huzzah to that. Beetle number 26 is found in the Scoundrel's Hold, and I think scoundrel is a fun word. And that brings us to the top 25, and the 25th best beetle isn't actually a beetle, it's the partner for today's video, Figgies. And honestly, I don't even really know what to say, because I think they kinda speak for themselves. Figgies makes these really dope pixel art characters for a ton of our favorite franchises like Metaphor, Persona, and SMT if you're an Atlus fan, or if you're an anime fan like me, then they have Figgies for shows like Frieren that snap magnetically onto these nice backdrops, and there are a lot more cool Figgies too. Just take a scroll and you'll see stuff like Sonic, Cowboy Bebop, Yu-Gi-Oh, and the list goes on and on. Every Figgy comes with that reversible metal display, a stand, and a magnet in case you want to put it on your fridge or something. I typically just like displaying them on my shelves at home and work though. And with every Figgy, there's a chance that you get one of these cool chase backgrounds in addition to the ones that are advertised to come with the Figgy. So that's pretty cool too. Though honestly, I still typically prefer the regular ones. So if you see something that you're interested in, then feel free to use the code ThoughtBubble5 to get 5% off of any order of $50 or more, or just use the link in the description. Okay, so the actual number 25 best beetle is found in the Abandoned Tomb while doing Alonzo's follower quest. And I like Alonzo a lot. At number 24, I think this beetle in Altaberry is funny because it's hiding behind a pole, like a child who sucks at hide and seek. At number 23, this one's also in Altaberry. Just kind of like the vibe of this beetle being so out of the way on this landing strip, which isn't useful for literally anything except a skyrunner, of which only 2 exist in the world of Metaphor, with one of them being ours, making its debut in the game itself. At number 22, I love cruising around Etria, so here's the clump of beetles that you can find in the village, with this one being pretty sneaky, hiding behind the Golden Deer Hearth. Now, Beetle 21 is a vibe because it's out in the open by these dope statues. Beetle 20 is a vibe because it's out in the open behind this dope statue. Beetle 19 is a vibe because it's on the beach. Beetle 18 is a vibe because it wants to be so tall and it's super high up, right outside of Edeni and Yufa's homes. At number 17, I respect this beetle in Altaberry because it is barely hidden at all. And at 16, I respect this beetle in Altaberry because it's not hidden at all. Now at number 15, I'll admit, I'm insanely biased towards the beetles in Brilehaven because I think it's my favorite city in the game to just walk around and explore. And so even if this beetle is just in the back alley, it still has a special place in my heart. At number 14, here's another one in Brilehaven, but because it's beside the recruitment center, I like it a bit more because it's easier to find and I'm lazy. At number 13, this beetle is nestled away in the Skyward Tavern in Altaberry, and it deserves to be here because I think the Skyward Tavern is so cozy. And cracking into the top 12, we love an easy beetle. The beetle you find behind the stairs in Sunshade Row is a true icon, and I love his work. Number 11 is found during the Saving the Morning Snakes quest, which is what unlocks Juna's follower bond. And so, because Juna's great, that makes the beetle great by association. And at number 10, this beetle is also found during the Saving the Morning Snakes quest for Juna, but I like this one better because it's by this monster thing, and I kind of feel bad that I'm taking it away from its buddies, so I had to give it some consolation prize. At number 9, if we go into comfort concoctions on Sunshade Row, we can see the sneaky bastard making the grain glow a bit. And I love that because you're probably so focused on the beetle that's out in the open that you just can't get to yet. It makes this one super easy to miss, and I like the stealthy little bug. At number 8, my bias towards Brilehaven is back in full force, and I respect this beetle wanting to just watch the boats come and go in the port. In contrast though, the beetle at number 7 is really cool because I think it serves as a reminder that just because this is a beautiful city doesn't mean that there aren't horrific things happening to the people in this city, just like in Martira and just like in Grand Trad. And so even though we are collecting this delightful little beetle, we can't look away from the awful things that the country has done to so many of its citizens. And at number 6, I like this beetle because it's right behind the Gold Beetle guy, and I think it's really funny that if he would just move, he'd probably find it. But it's still not quite top 5 material. What is top 5 material though is this beetle found in the Land of Ceremony during a quest given by the future Queen of the United Kingdom of Uchronia, Yufa. And so that alone makes it deserve to be in the top 5. At number 4, now this is technically a backtracking beetle that you can't get until after you visit the Virga Islands, but I really like this one in particular because I think it's cool that you can see it before you can get it. So the fact that you know you will need to come back to get it at some point makes this one in Comfort Concoctions on Sunshade Row particularly fun. At number 3, we're getting into the heavy hitter beetles now, and it's yet another Yufa Golden Beetle, but this one is made of hardier stuff than the rest because you find this one in the cleverly named Mount Volcano, which, believe it or not, is actually a volcano. And you find it while you're chasing down a deranged priest. So how could it not get the number 3 spot? And at number 2, I don't care if this is a missable beetle. I am taking this one on principle that if you don't romp around the Plaza of Light in the ancient Elden Sanctum and engage with literally everything there, then you don't deserve this beetle. We've got to respect the past here, people. And at number 1, this is by far my favorite beetle in the game, and it comes from the weirdest quest in the game, where this woman wants your bathwater so she can sell it and will give you a gold beetle for it. And because this quest actually made me laugh out loud when I got it, it's for that reason that I think this is easily the best gold beetle in the game. And so I want to know what your thoughts are because I'm sure we've all put a lot of time and effort into thinking about what are the best and worst gold beetles in all of Metaphor. And make sure to like and subscribe. Bye!